Hey, Roo Crew, how's it going? It's been a while since I've sat down and just chatted with you. We've had an opportunity to, or I've had an opportunity to do a couple of shorts and tell you some of the things on my mind, just, as I'm rushing around throughout the day. But it's been a while since I've sat down and I've talked. It's been incredibly busy for the last couple of months. I've been busy with work. We've been very busy celebrating my mom with her 90th birthday celebration a couple of weeks ago, which was a huge success. And I think she felt celebrated and loved. And it was a true full speed ahead family effort, but it took an incredibly large amount of work. And speaking of work, I've been very, very busy with work. I've been busy with plans for the upcoming fiscal year, and I've been busy with events. I've been busy with just kind of day-to-day strategy on things. And so it's just been a lot going on, and I've been pouring a lot of time into myself. So I've been pouring time into my rest. I've been pouring time into my sleep. I have been pouring time into exercise and healthy eating, and just really touching some grass, as they say. I have literally been touching grass and been out in the front yard just doing a little planting and taking off my shoes and doing that great grounding and allowing my body to just kind of acclimate to the earth. And I've really just been pouring into myself and pouring into my job. And you may notice I have a new do. I wrote a couple of weeks ago about having the worst haircut ever, and it was pretty bad. And so I put my hair back in crochet braids and waited for, I want to say, close to 4 weeks, just so that it could grow out a little bit. It had like one of those really hard hairlines, and I do not like that. I think it looks very masculine, and I like my hair to look very soft, very feminine. And so once it grew out, I was able to pick up my scissors and fix the haircut, and I absolutely love it now. It's been really fun watching the different things that my hair does. And oh, okay. Am I boring myself? But it's been fun watching the different things that my hair does, and just reacclimating myself to my texture. I wore my hair in a natural style for a lot of years, like right before I graduated college. I want to say a couple of months before I graduated from university, I cut my hair into a high top fade, and it was really not the style in the city that I'm from. So I got a lot of feedback when I would do things like walk down the street or take a bus or whatever. So yeah, I did that, and yeah, and I've worn my hair some every way. I've been worn it in braids, I've worn it straight, I've worn it pressed, I've worn it in big afros. I wore it like almost like a ball fade. And so anyhow, I really enjoy this. I like it. I like the softness of it. I like the femininity of it. I like the ease of it. And even though I loved my crochet braids, I like this. I feel like it brings my face out. You can see my eyes, you can see my smile, and so I enjoy that. And so, what else has been going on with me? I've been watching a lot of Nollywood movies, and I'm going to tell you, I was pretty dedicated to never watching them, right? I'm like, nobody had no time for that. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing one or two that I liked, and you may have seen in my post, there was one that Harvesters International Christian Center did, and I attend services. I have attended their services, and I've fellowshipped with folks from Harvesters, and so I consider that my Nigerian church, and so they made a movie, so of course I had to watch that. And then, a couple months later, or actually it was Good Friday, I saw a movie and it was called Broken Hallelujah. Whew, when I tell you that movie is so good, it's with Bimbo Ademaye and Daniel Itim F. Young. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing their names correctly, but I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. It was a story about a husband and a wife who needed to have faith in order to get something that they've been praying to God for. And so in this case, they were praying to have a baby. And the movie kind of took us through the ups and downs. First, it took us through how they met each other and how they came together and their first friendship and then their courtship. And the movie took us all throughout that. And then it took us through them waiting to have a baby. And when I tell you, my emotions were so stirred up. What really got me were the praying scenes. When they were praying, I felt like they were praying for real. Like I was watching that movie and my soul was getting stirred. And there was one in particular where the husband was praying for the wife. Like she had a case where she was in physical pain and he was praying, don't, Lord, take this pain from her. Like she can't handle it. I'm like, oh, woo, it was so stirring. That movie was so good for me because, I have some things that I'm praying for and I'm asking God to do for me. And that movie just reminded me to hold on. And it even showed how, like, you can be waiting and praying for something, and then you try to take it into your own hands and you do all this wacky stuff to make it happen. And the movie even goes through that. So it was awesome. It was called Broken Hallelujah. It's on Bimbo Ademaye's, and like I said, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name properly, but Bimbo Ademaye, I want to say Ademayo, Ademaye, I believe it is. It's on her YouTube channel, and I'll put it below so that you can see it. But I think that is a must see. I've actually recommended it to friends. I have one friend, I recommended it to her and she watched it twice because it's just that good. And I've watched it a couple of times myself. And then I've actually fast forwarded to certain parts that I like in the movie. Just really good stuff. And that came out Good Friday, so I watched that. And I had a really good Easter. It was really chill. I went to church that morning, and I, usually have on like jeans at church, right? And so I still had on jeans at church, but I put on a really lovely top with it and have a little brooch and have a little pearls. So, and I wore heels with my jeans. So, I was like formal on the top and like, casual on the bottom. And so, yeah, so that went on. And another thing that I've been doing in the not so inspirational side. So I feel really proud about like in the movie Broken Hallelujah. So something I've done that I'm not really proud about, but hey, I'm not judging me. I dig reality TV. Like I really like reality shows. I don't have the time to watch them the way that I would like to, but I usually watch the Real Housewives franchises. So I watch Real Housewives of Potomac and I watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. I try to watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because Basma St. John is on there, and I wasn't really relating to the ladies. I might try again because I kind of wanted to see Basma St. John in action, and I tried. It didn't keep my interest, and so right now I just really watch Potomac and I watch Atlanta. And so Atlanta has been really interesting since some of the core cast members are gone. It doesn't feel like the same show. I've heard people say that it reminds them of Love and Hip Hop. I wouldn't say Love and Hip Hop specifically, but for those of us who started watching the Real Housewives franchises at their inception, it was cool to see the glamour and the glitz and the designer clothing and the hair and stuff. And like, I used to be a huge fan of Real Housewives of New York for that reason. I like to see them going to the Hamptons, and like to see them living on the Upper West Side. And is it Upper West Side? I don't know. I'm from the Midwest, child. I don't know nothing about New York. But anyway, I like to see them, doing all of these fancy things and going to charity balls and what clothes they were going to wear and how they would design their houses and stuff. I was really into that. And Atlanta was never as Atlanta had more of a nouveau riche kind of feeling, but I liked it, and I used to like to see the houses and the trips and the clothes, and I like to see the ladies all done up and stuff like that, because I'm kind of a girly girl in that way. Potomac, I don't know, Potomac, I feel like, I know those ladies are probably paid more than me, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like Potomac were more neck and neck, right? So, but still, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed kind of looking at the dynamics. And then there were some politics, and there's some social politics that are at play in Potomac, because I really feel like that cast has some issues with colorism and some issues with just kind of mean girl kind of behavior. And so it's interesting watching the dynamics and kind of dipping into the psychology. So anyhow, I've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, and what has had me absolutely appalled was a couple of weeks ago when Kenya Moore had an opening of her hair spa. And who better to have a hair spa than Kenya Moore, with all that beautiful, luscious hair she has. And I will start my statement by saying I think she is one of the most physically attractive women ever. I think she's so beautiful, so physically beautiful. And I feel a certain kinship with her because her birthday is January 24th and my birthday is January 25th. And I tend to kind of know who has a birthday around me because I'm so into my birthday. And so Kenya Moore and I also went to the same high school. I am older than she is, and so I was there a few years before her. I think that when she was a freshman, I was either a senior or had either just graduated. I know some people who know her, but we definitely do not and have not run in the same circles. But I felt like, hey, hometown girl, right? And so when Kenya would do these despicable things in the life of the show, I always wanted to like her. It was like sometimes I would take her side when I just didn't need to take her side. And, like when she came for Tootie, that was messed up. How you gonna come for Tootie? Remember when Kid Fields was on the show? So I did not like how she treated her at all. And, but I've always forgiven Kenya, forgiven her. I say this like she's done something to me. She don't know me from a can of paint. Even though I did see her in a restaurant in a suburb of the city where I live in. I did see her in a restaurant. I saw her and Baby Brooklyn, and Baby Brooklyn was adorable. She was still in a high chair, and she was saying hello to me from across the restaurant. Now, I'm not sure. I think she was speaking Baby E's, but she kept trying to get my attention, and they sent me really close to her, which I thought was weird because the restaurant was pretty empty. But Baby Brooklyn just kept turning around and smiling at me and saying hi to me, which is indicative of a baby who's loved and well cared for. And I'm sure that came from her mama. Kenya was just sort of, she wasn't mean and she wasn't nice. She just was in her phone, in her business. And she kind of had the high chair as a barrier between the two of us. And I'm like, like I said, she didn't know me from a can of paint. And she probably just wanted to enjoy her time. And it was winter time and she had on flip-flops. So I'm assuming that she had just gotten a pedicure or something. And so I did not bother her, even though the friend who came to meet me later totally bothered her, even though it's like, leave that lady alone and let her enjoy her life. But anyway, so I've always tried to root for Kenya. And this stunt that she pulled at her hair spa made it difficult to root for her. And I saw her follow-up discussion, and I can link it below so you can see it. I saw her follow-up discussion about why she did it. I thought her answer was trash, and I thought her actions were trash. And there's a part of me that says, okay, this just has to be a gimmick. This is something Bravo just had to come up with for ratings, and because it just didn't seem like it could be real. She showed some sexually explicit pictures of a castmate, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, it just seems so needless, right? And so she did that. And she also did this at the opening of her hair spa, or like the opening event of her hair spa. And it made me wonder, like, so if this is real, if it wasn't a setup, if it wasn't something that the Bravo producers put together, then it made me wonder about her mental health. And I'm almost scared to say that, because you know how these internet streets are. But I have like 248 subscribers. The chances of her seeing it are pretty slim. I'll tag her, just for the drama of it. But I was really disappointed in her behavior. I just thought that was terrible, terrible behavior. And like I said, it made me wonder about where she might be mentally and what she might be suffering from to do something that extreme. And I know that the cast member that she did it against had said, had threatened her, but it didn't, or indirectly threatened her. In my mind, it was an indirect threat. However, I know I take threats against my person very, very seriously. I don't play with that. So I understand that, but for her to do what she did just seems so lowbrow. And even though I have not agreed with many of the things that King has done in the past, I just never saw her as lowbrow. And I just was really shocked by that. And it makes me hope that Bravo staged it, because it was really pretty bad, And it made me wonder, like, what's going on with her, that she felt the need to kind of tear down her own thing with her own hands. It was not only disrespectful to the person that she did it to, but she disrespected herself, and she disrespected inadvertently her baby, or her daughter rather. And so I was just very shocked and surprised, and it made me feel, rather than disdain for her, it made me feel a certain amount of compassion, because I'm wondering, what are you going through that you weren't able to logically think that out? You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so that's one thing I've been kind of, consumed with my little TV. And then this other stunt, Porsha. So Porsha Gabadia, I think is her last name, with her latest husband. So when she originally got with Simon Gabadia, I had strong opinions about it. My opinions were so strong that I stopped telling people about my love interest at the time. This really handsome guy, and I had some pictures of him up on social media, and I took them down because I'm like, oh, these folks are treacherous. They're treacherous. And I remember that's a line from, actually the line was a little different. They used a different word, but they used treacherous at the end of the sentence. And it's a line from the movie Just Right when Paula Patton is talking to Queen Latifah, and she talks about these pros. Here we go. You're treacherous. And that's how I felt when Porsha started dating Simon Gabadia, because I remember that episode when she went to the castmate Fallon's house and they were swimming in the pool and Simon was looking at her all creepy and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, different strokes, different folks. And then I look up and all of a sudden, Porsha is talking about Simon as the love of her life. And when they got married, I just didn't pay any attention to their wedding, which is really interesting considering my interest in Nigeria and Nigerian culture and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't want no parts of it. Then I watched that train wreck of a show that Porsha had. And, you know, I didn't feel that great about her. And then I just kind of didn't think about it, right? Well, was it the last episode? She threatened to sleep with, she had like a beef with one of the castmates. And the way that she answered that was threatening to sleep with this lady's husband. She's like talking bad stuff, you know, talking bad with her friends about her. The lady wasn't there, by the way. So it was a little cowardly. It's like, she better watch it because then I'll, you know, bump her man. And again, I was appalled. It's like, well, we know that you're capable of that because of what you did before. So Porsha is a good reminder to me to keep my mouth closed about my romantic life because, you know, I was a communications manager, communications major. I like to communicate, and I'm a writer. Shoot, I like to write it down and write it fancy and tell the story. Porsha is a cautionary tale to keep your business to yourself. You don't want anybody fantasizing about what you have and plotting on you. Oof, I don't want to be paranoid, but Porsha, geez Louise, she'll make you paranoid. So as you can see, I have been having pretty light thoughts lately. Child, if you look at that news cycle right now, that news cycle can be a little daunting. And those executive orders and stuff like that. So some of them definitely they unfortunately impact the work that I do, and they also impact some of the work that I do from a charitable standpoint, some of the volunteer work I do. So I find that it's best for me not to focus on them, you know. It's best for me to focus on lighter topics. And, you know, also it's good for me to focus on my spiritual life, you know. And so that's what I do because, child, this news cycle right now and the fear that people have can be, it's a little daunting. It's a little daunting. So anyway, I think I've talked enough. As you can see, this particular video doesn't have any kind of strong point. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been into lately. Hey, how do you like my makeup? I put some makeup on today. I was experimenting, and I put on my regular foundation. I have two foundations. So in the winter months, or when my skin is a little lighter, I'll use a Il Makiage foundation, and I use that little quiz to match it. Matched it perfectly. But I've been out in the yard a lot, and I've been walking a lot, and so I definitely have vestiges of my summer color. And so my Il Makiage was too light. I was noticing I was looking all chalky. So the foundation that I love right now, and it's an inexpensive one, it's called About Face, and Ulta carries the brand. And it's not on their prestige side where they have like, you know, Lancome and Fenty and Anastasia and all that stuff. Is on what they call their mass side, where they have like Revlon and L'Oreal and stuff, and it's called About Face. And I really, really like it. I like the wearability of it. I like the very smooth texture of it. And you can, like, even now, even though I have all this makeup on, you can see my actual skin, and it's not, it doesn't look like it's creasing, which I love. And the other thing that I have on that I really like, this is a eye palette from Juvia's Place. It's like a million years old, and I used one of the one of the more va 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 boomish colors from that palette, and I like how it looks on my eyes. And I did a little contouring, not too much, just enough to give a little shape to my face. So anyway, as you can see, I don't have anything that deep going on. So me not coming online, I have not been holding out from y'all. I have not been holding out. There's just not a lot going on, and I like it like that. Things have been peaceful, and in peaceful things have been quiet. Probably though, I will say when I first started to not really post as much, I was probably a little discouraged because the channel hasn't grown as much as I would like it to grow. And then I started getting all this unsolicited advice, and I felt under pressure because I started YouTube to do something that I could enjoy and something that I could have fun with. And when I started getting pressure to do it this way, do it that way, do this, do that, it took the fun away from it for me. So I didn't quit it, but I stopped posting as much because it just stopped being fun. It just stopped being fun. And I got over that. And I know the channel will grow as it needs to grow. And I'm still not quite sure what my niche is. I tend to kind of just come on here and spout my opinions and tell you what I'm feeling about stuff, and try to just be my authentic self at all times. So, okay, I think I'm ending now. So thank you so much for watching this, for tuning in. I appreciate you now and always. And please, if this is content you enjoy, please subscribe to the channel. Please like below. Please comment. All of these things are so incredibly helpful to me. It increases my watch hours, it increases my number of subscribers, because I would love it if I could get monetized on this channel and use this as an extra form of income. So that would be super helpful for me. And also, if I've said anything that interests you, respond in the comments. Let's have a conversation. I love when I get comments from subscribers or people who just randomly watch the channel. I like conversing with you, and whether you want to talk about my new makeup and stuff, or and I'm just trying a new gel too. It's by The Do, and it's a Black-owned company, husband and wife company. And I think I'm using the gel Big Papa today. And then I have another one called Bee Girl. I think it's called Bee Girl. And it has elements of honey in it. And I used the Bee Girl moisturizing mask the other day, and I really liked it. My hair feels really good. And with this Big Papa gel, there's no crunch, and my hair, it's not that sticky. It's a little tacky, just a little bit. It has that little not wet, but kind of that tacky feel. And I washed it 2 days ago. So anyway, child, I'm just all over the place today, but that's all right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really am leaving this time. So if you like this content, like or subscribe below. Until later, I hope that you will be authentically you, because I will always be authentically RHOA. Take good care of yourself. Mwah.